Hey guys, I'm here with George Matthews. He's with my manufacturer for our fiberglass pergolas, and I'm just visiting today. Wanted to introduce you to some of the people that are responsible for that, and also want to learn a little bit about what makes their product unique. George, and would you start by letting us know a little bit about the strength of the fiberglass components that we're using and how you accomplish that?
Absolutely. The strength that is within the fiberglass components we use for the pergolas comes from the layering of fiberglass mats over and under fiberglass roving. And with the fiberglass mats, they have microscopic or tiny little fiberglass strands that are interwoven onto the mat. And then in between that, the fiberglass roving are hundreds of those tiny fiberglass strands that are just all bound together to make a little sort of fiberglass rope.
Yeah.
And when you combine that with the resin in the part, they all combine to make that part pound for pound strong as steel.
Great. And how do you get those things to come together? What's the process?
Yeah, the process to get all those things to come together is our pultrusion machine, and then in the back of that pultrusion machine is a bath that holds the polyester resin material, and then the fiberglass roving is then directed through the bath using a forming system, and then once those roving come out of the resin bath, they are combined with the fiberglass mats around a steel mandrel using a forming system. It's basically plastic cards with slots cut into them to keep the mats and the roving going where we want them to go.
Yeah.
And that mandrel goes into a heated die, and then the mat and the roving go around the steel mandrel into the heated die, and that mandrel is what creates the shape of the fiberglass part.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll take a look at that in just a minute.
Yeah.
Some other benefits. Talk about changing temperatures and its effect on being able to go through that without issue.
The change in temperature?
Changing like hot to cold, no...
in the manufacturing process or with the finished part?
With the finished part.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the result of this is we're not getting a lot of expansion and contraction
Right.
and changing of weather. And I also understand that we can greatly increase the heat resistance to our structures that make this an obvious choice for outdoor kitchens and
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
grills and other applications that might be exposed to more heat.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the best benefits that I have learned over time with this fiberglass material is that it does not expand and contract with freeze-frost cycles or changes in temperatures. And how we are able to make that material not do that is the curing process with the fiberglass and the pultrusion process of manufacturing it's a thermo-cure process and not a thermoset. So thermo-cure I believe just basically refers to once that material is kicked off inside the die of the machine, it is set into that shape, it will not move. Whereas if you compare that to vinyl or PVC, when vinyl and PVC reach a certain temperature again, they are malleable and they will change shape. Whereas with the fiberglass, you don't get that.
Gotcha. Why don't we take a look at some of the components, if you don't mind showing
absolutely.
us? Because I know that. Let's go over here to some of the fiberglass pieces. And one of the things that I'm, always fascinated by is just how strong this part is, given the thickness,
Mm-hmm.
right? So is that an eighth of an inch? Is that?
That is just slightly under, or excuse me, yeah, this column shaft is an eighth of an inch thick along the wall, and then with the rib right here, I believe that's a quarter inch.
Yeah. So because of the strength to weight ratio, we're able to achieve hollow components that wiring can be run through for any number of things that people may want to take advantage of with their.
Absolutely, yeah. The manufacturing process of this particular pultruded column allows the consumer to mount lighting, electrical sockets, tubing for either gas or water, basically almost anything that they want to install either inside or outside that column shaft. That column shaft is durable and capable of holding.
Very cool. And then we've got some purlins here. That we can see that they're
these are unfinished parts.
Right.
So
these are waiting to be coated.
Correct.
Right. So these are getting ready to be finished off, and we'll take a look at some of that later. But you can see we get comments from our customers about how they like the tail being part of the rafters. You can see that it's one.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So when these nominal 2x8 rafters or these nominal 2x2 purlin or stringer come off our pultrusion machine, they are a hollow, rectangular, or square tube.
Yeah.
And then we stuff them on the ends with a high-density urethane foam. We allow that to cure inside of that, and then we hard cut or route the tail designs into each part.
Yeah.
So you have one continuous length and not those tacky stick-on tails.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's very, very nice. And we've also got some brackets already installed here based on the customer's specification as far as spacing goes, so the customer doesn't have to worry about that. And if I'm correct, when we look at something that is finished, we'll see that those are coated as well, so they will blend into the.
That's absolutely right. So based on the design that we determine, during the quote and sale process, we will pre-install these aluminum L brackets and these nominal 2x8 aluminum rafter brackets to the tops of the support beams and to the face of the ledger board at the predetermined spacing. And the only reason we do that is to make the installation process as simple as can be.
Right. No cutting required. Basically you've got everything you need to.
That's right.
To get your structure put together. Let's take a look. This is the beginning of a crate.
Yes.
That a large pergola is going to be shipped out in. So if you order a pergola, they won't look exactly like this, but this is the beginning of a crate that's coming together.
That's right. And each crate is custom built for each pergola.
Right. We can see something behind here. You can kind of see an example of a finished crate. Again, size could be very different. So depending on the size, pergola, your crate could look a lot different, but that just kind of shows the care that's being taken into the packaging so that your pergola arrives in good shape when it gets to you. Let's walk down here. What is this chamber we're looking at here?
Yeah, this aluminum or finished steel chamber is our paint booth. We use a paint coating called ChromaGuard, and it is specifically made for our fiberglass outdoor living products. It is an acrylic latex water-based coating, but again, it is specifically formulated for our fiberglass material. The coating manufacturer actually came, checked out what we were doing, took a sample of the fiberglass back with them, and came up with the ChromaGuard coating for us.
So it bonds to the material and fade resistant, all these.
Absolutely, yeah. The ChromaGuard coating carries a 10-year warranty, and it's a basic limited warranty, but it will guard against fading, cracking, chipping, etc.
Right. So let's look at some finished stuff over here.
So these parts recently came out of the paint booth, I would say last night. They are cured, ready to wrap and ship. So what will happen now is Monday morning when our crew gets back to work, we will blow these off, wipe them down, and then sleeve them in a plastic sleeve and then package them inside that crate that is being built right now.
Yeah, very cool.
Yep.
And you can see that the brackets that we talked about earlier.
Exactly. These aluminum L brackets on top of the rafter support beams don't necessarily need to be coated, but of course we want to coat them so they look like part of the pergola.
Right.
And then they are pop riveted to the tops of those beams.
Okay.
Instead of using screws, those pop rivets are going to hold a little bit better.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the anchoring systems that you use. So let's start with going just directly into concrete.
Yeah, let's. So this is our standard arbor lock column anchor system, and it consists of a 5/8 inch by 5 inch stainless steel concrete wedge anchor that is coupled to a steel threaded rod, and then this rod runs all the way up through the column shaft, and on top of that column shaft you have your decorative column cap, and this aluminum plate is pre-melted to the cap at the factory, and then at the top this threaded rod will go through the plate and it cinches down on top of the column shaft, and it cinches that column shaft down onto the concrete pad.
Yeah.
It's easy peasy.
And then the rafters go on
That's right. Your
each
rafter
side.
support beams will sit on the outside of these flanges that are welded to the plate. Again, we wanted them welded to give it extra strength.
Right.
And then we use stainless steel screws to go through the outside of the beams into the plates.
Right. Okay. Now let's look at what some of these other plates. What are the?
Yeah, this
What are
is
the
a
application?
this is a 1/4 inch, 10-inch square steel wind load plate or deck plate. We can use the same plate for a concrete application or a wood or composite deck application. And if it's going onto concrete, the reason we want to use this plate is to give the pergola itself a higher wind load rating. So using the standard system, you're going to get anywhere from a 70 to 90 mile per hour wind load rating depending on the size of the pergola. Upgrading and using one plate per column is going to give you anywhere from 165 to 175 mile per hour.
Okay, great.
And that is important along the coast and down in Florida, of course.
Absolutely. Get a lot of questions about
Right.
how well they can stand.
Absolutely. And then of course we have round plates for round columns.
For the round columns. And so
Yeah.
these also go on, you can also use these to mount onto a deck, correct?
Absolutely. So if you're going on the concrete, we're going to provide you 4 of these wedge anchors for each plate. If it's going onto a deck, we prefer not to provide that hardware because the consumer and their professional are going to know a lot more about that deck than we do.
Yeah,
So, yep.
that makes sense. Let's look at, what are these other pieces that were?
Yeah, this is, we call this an aluminum flush mount rafter bracket, and it is just the right size to go inside of our nominal 2x8 rafters. And we are going to use this to either install the back ends of the rafters to the face of a ledger board, or if the consumer wants to eliminate the ledger board altogether, you can install these directly to the home wall. And then the 2x8 rafter is going to slide completely over the bracket, hiding the bracket, and then you go through the outside of the rafter into the bracket with stainless steel screws that we provide.
Yeah. And we also use those to attach the rafters on our contemporary louvered pergola as well.
That's a very good point. I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up. Yes. So on our Solace contemporary pergolas,
Yeah.
they flush mount and create a nice, clean, square or rectangle look. And then we will use these brackets to accomplish that, whether you're using a nominal 2x8 beam or a larger beam such as an 8-inch square or a 10-inch square. We provide the hardware for that. And again, these are aluminum, so they're never going to rust or fade.
Very good, very good. Now, what is this huge thing that we're
Yeah.
looking at here, and when do we use this?
Yeah, we call this our heavy duty column anchor system. This is a 3-inch square by 1/4 inch steel post. At the bottom, we have welded one of our square steel deck plates to this tubing, put some supports on the corners, and we are going to use this either for our swing arbors, or we are going to use this in our freestanding or attached pergolas to achieve column center spans from center of center to column greater than 18 feet on center.
Right. Yeah, so for extra large, you just need a little bit more engineering.
That's exactly right. So using this anchor post as opposed to the 5/8 inch diameter rod, we can go from 18 to 22 feet from center to center.
Yeah, and I tried to pick one up a while ago, and
Yeah, they are substantial.
yeah, pretty
So-
heavy. So that's what we're, you can, if we're looking at a larger structure, we would look at something like this to provide enhanced stability, for the structure.